Good morning, everyone. So I just woke up not long ago and I'm leaning back on my couch, and then I heard this little whisper in my ear say, just pick up your laptop and do a casual video for everyone. I think I've only done one like this before, where I have my laptop sitting in my lap. So just imagine that we're having tea and we just woke up in Hawaii or Bali and we're having a conversation on the couch. And for the person who just heard Bali and felt resonation there, know that you are meant to go, and maybe a select group of you are meant to go. So I just wanted to relay that message as well. So the overall energy update is that we are going through a massive, massive shift as a collective right now. We're always going through shifts singularly, depending on how seriously you take your journey. Some people meditate every single day, so they're constantly downloading more of that cosmic information throughout the day. And you could say that they're more advanced just because they go to practice more. Just like if you had a gymnast that is super dedicated to their path, then they're going to be more adept at what it is that they're doing. But from the overview, please understand that no one is more advanced, no one is higher or lower. There are just certain people who are more devoted to this path. But that's at an individual level. So individually, you will always have people who are more unconscious and then people who are super conscious. What I want to address today is the collective shift that's taking place. I feel like there's a massive opening right now for us to really tune into the body and get instructions or receive directives from all of our guides. You are going to find, and I'm going to share some of the symptoms, you're going to find that you're no longer able to operate within a very rigid structure. And that's because the grid work within your body, the grid work within your physical matrix, holds your reality in place. So every single thing that you hold within your body at a frequential level is going to externalize itself as part of your holographic reality. So let's say that you are a rigid person. You will attract things in your external world to show you that you are rigid. Now, most people are still have their heads buried in the sand like an ostrich, so they don't want to look at that. So a lot of people still live in a state of denial, which is okay because they're wanting to experience the point of focus that they're in now. They don't want to deal with all of that. They want to, in a way, crack the code on their own or solve the puzzle on their own. And they have a right to do that because we embodied with our free will. And no one can take that from us, which is why I always encourage people to suspend their judgments towards people, because every single person is having a valid experience. And I promise you this, they're amassing information or they're collecting data that gets fed back into source. So they're doing their job. It doesn't matter which vibrational rate or which vibrational range they're functioning within. Everyone is contributing to the evolutionary process of the planet, but also of the cosmos. That's why I always tell people, don't judge anyone, because they're handling an area that you may not want to handle. In other words, they're studying, they're mining, that's a good word, they're mining a particular sector in space that you may not want to do that. And as above, so below. So the entire universe is inside of you. They may be studying a part of their mind that other people are accessing, obviously, because we're all interconnected as collectives. So usually you will find that if someone struggles with, let's say, anorexia, the other person who struggles with anorexia, they're sharing the same patternization, if that makes sense. So they're both kind of in that same department within the Galactic Macy's department store, which is inside of us is a department store of all these different star systems, of all these different realities. And we go in there with a magnifying glass like Inspector Gadget. And a lot of times we don't want people to derail us, even though from the overview, yes, we might be partaking in something that's unhealthy or in something that is seemingly devolved as opposed to evolved. But please understand that as a free will being, that person has a right to study that particular department, and nothing is done in vain. Nothing is futile. Everything that the darkest demon does, which demon is just another word for, I don't like to use that word, but it's more so that even if you have a reptilian consciousness that's doing something that may not be benefiting the collective mentality or the collective ascension, it still is to some degree. I know that's a big one, but it's true. If someone chooses to incarnate and play as the dark side or play on Team Dark, to some degree, even though that may not benefit the highest version of what we could all be right now if we all shook hands and agreed to it, which is not going to happen today, you guys, because it's already happened at a non-physical level, but we're still playing out roles here. And I want people to understand that the third dimensional reality is like a stage where you have different actors who are playing different roles, and they're going to want to play out those roles for as long as they believe is suitable for them. So we have to respect everyone. Everyone. If you go out and you scold someone who is doing something that may not resonate with you, like, I'll just give you an example. Let's say that someone has a sexual fetish that to you makes no sense whatsoever. To them, that's like some sort of a puzzle that they're either solving now or that they're still unconscious of, that they're trying to understand, why do I have this? Does it stem from a trauma? And I'm going to keep doing it until I understand. So it's not, we don't have a right to judge other people. We really don't, because we never know what they've gone through. If they were molested in another life, or maybe that they weren't molested at all and they just happened to want to collect data through that sexual fetish. And I know that's probably the worst example, but I just came up with something on a whim. It could be anything. Judging a killer is never going to make them a better person. If anything, it's going to exacerbate that aspect of themselves that is running their show, that shadow aspect that they haven't addressed yet, and it's probably going to intensify it in a negative way for them. So it's going to do no good to judge someone who kills. What you can do is close your eyes and send them light if that's something they want to receive. But a lot of people have a free will. It's kind of like when you hug someone who's not ready for that, like hugging them is going to cause more harm than do good. And that's because we all have been assigned a free will choice. And we're going to play out these roles for as long as we need to. I still do it sometimes. I don't kill people. I still do things that I know aren't good for me. For many years, my guides would say, please skip the gym, Phil. Please skip the gym. And I'd be like, no, I want to look this way. And I was needing to explore that because I wanted to understand the dynamics within that realm. And then once I started to understand that every time I disobeyed my guides, my higher self, I was keeping the very entity that is me on another parallel reality. I know this is deep. So, in other words, okay, this is really deep, but I'm going there. I got this vision one day that on days where my guides were asking me to skip, that was actually also another aspect of me that I was keeping kidnapped, that I was holding captive, that was begging me to take a day off, otherwise we would never heal together. Otherwise we would never merge our timelines together. So the demon that I thought I had was another aspect of myself that was begging for help, was begging me to skip. But here's the thing, when I would skip the gym, that demon would go into panic mode because it was comfortable navigating within that box of me always going. So when I would take a day off, it would start to panic, but then I realized I was the one who was panicking because I became the demon to that other aspect. This is really deep. So the demon that I thought I had was just another aspect of myself who had the same objective as me, who wanted me to collaborate with him or her, depending on if it's a woman on a different reality. But I saw it as a he, He was wanting to collaborate with me because we had the same objective. I didn't want to feel like a slave to the gym. I didn't want that to have a grip on me and to control my life. And it was controlling my life. I was like a dog on a leash. And then when I would skip the gym, it wasn't panicking. I was the one that was panicking. And it was telling me, relax, all is well. Yes, your body's going to change a little bit. You're still going to look great, but I've got you now. So it was a really interesting download, and I can address this download from many angles. It wasn't just that it wasn't a demon now. Yes, it's all what the nine are always teaching me is that everything is relevant. So on days that I did skip the gym, yes, there is a viewpoint where it was panicking, and then I had to be the mature one and give it love and relieve it of that suffering by letting it know all is well. We're going to do this as a team. But then there's the other perspective where I'm the one who started freaking out because I was letting go of something that was so familiar to me. And then it was, if you can think of it as my future self in linear form, meaning that there is no linearity, everything is multidimensional, and all realities and timelines are existing concurrently. But if for a minute we can just play within this 3D mindset, in linear form, I now understand that that voice was the me that I've become. It was my future self who is accepting of this body now, who wouldn't have been accepting of that body then. And this me who feels much more peaceful and much more light, and I feel much more pleasantness within my being, meaning I'm a lot less rigid. This me, I owe the Phil that I used to be, meaning that other Phil, was afraid of becoming the me that I am now. So I was giving it love on days where it wasn't going to the gym, on the days where he wasn't going to the gym. And then on days when I would go back, those old patterns can really, really lodge in you and be so strong that you go back to the gym and you want to punish yourself and work out really hard. On days where I would go back after taking a day off, he would then reassure me all is well. It's really interesting when you look at life like that, because you realize there aren't really demons. Yes, there are, obviously, just like there's bacteria on your bread when you leave it out for a while, or whatever there is on your bread, the mold and all that. There are demons, but you start to understand when you reach a higher dimensional state of being, a higher dimensional state of consciousness, that everything is serving you so that you can become multidimensional. It's trying to get your attention so that you can pull your head out of the sand and start to pay attention to the bigger signs. That's why whenever something goes haywire in my life, like I pull my neck or I twist my ankle, I see that as a blessing because something worse might have happened or not. Remember, it depends on your beliefs, but I'm of the opinion that whenever something that is seemingly bad that happens to me, I see that as a save. It's another aspect of myself that prevented me from getting into a horrible car accident or having something worse happen. And when you start to see life this way, then you can see that your universe is working on your behalf, that your guides are all around you. How many times have you looked at your phone when you were driving, or what I'm talking years ago, and then you looked up and that was your angel whispering in your ear, saving you from getting in a car accident? And that's just an example. So the main energy update I have for you guys today is we are really being asked by our higher selves, by the ETs, by the Pleiadians, by the Arcturians, by the Andromedans, by Archangel Raphael, all of the beings who are assigned to you, who are guiding you, who are part of your network of light. There's this massive opening taking place right now within the heart chakra, where our connection with the other side, with the upside down, like in Stranger Things, is being solidified. That knowledge was always being imparted to us, but we were still stuck in a lower density. So we were like horse with blinders who were choosing one point to focus, which is what we designed the 3D for. Planet Earth is a melting pot for all of these experiments. And the reason why we descend through time and space into density is so that we can cut ourselves off from the multidimensional aspect and really experience one theme at a time. So we do this purposely. And then as we solve this puzzle, we start to expand ourselves into more of the non-linear, true organic state of being, which is your divine template, which is your multidimensional self. But it wouldn't be a game if we descended with this omniscient or all-knowing energy or this all-knowing wisdom. It would not be a game. And again, I'm just sharing from one perspective now, because the 9 are saying to me, yes, but there's also a part of you guys' DNA that's been tampered with, which is true as well. So I don't want to discredit that perspective. I never want to discredit any perspective. That's why when I speak, I encompass every single person who's alive on every timeline. If there's a channeler channeling God right now in the 1980s, I would never want to discount their work, because that's contributing, like I shared earlier, to the collective ascension program. There's no such thing as time, from one viewpoint. From one viewpoint, there is no such thing as time, and the energy of Yeshua, of Jesus, is still here. That timeline is still playing out. So when we cast a stone at each other, we're still casting a stone at Jesus. That's kind of the idea. And when we receive epiphanies let's say that there's a being that's receiving an epiphany in the 1980s right now, that epiphany is probably coming from their future self that is here right now, or that is coming from this conversation. So whenever you have an aha moment or a light bulb moment, know that that light bulb moment is coming from a higher source of intelligence, and that higher source of intelligence comprises of everything, meaning their future selves, from other beings who might be talking or conversing in that moment, and then that download gets threaded out to them. So that's why we're here to collect data, because when you learn a lesson today, that energy is going to get fed back to the timeline that needs it, or to the timelines that can utilize that information for their benefit, for their growth, for their expansion. So back to what I was saying is, I'm always inclusive of everyone to the best of my ability. And people also always ask me, like, why are you working with the 9? Because the 9 make up the 1. But in order to explain the 1, we need to split off and share different perspectives to then make up the 1 again. So to me, the 1, that source creator consciousness, experiences itself in 9 archetypes. And I'm just like giving you guys an example right now, in 9 different personalities or expressions of the divine, to help people reroute or reorient back to the 1. That's why I bounce around a lot. So the 9 to me is like a cloud of consciousness that's constantly interacting with me to be human and share perspective, but then cover all grounds and bring it back to the oneness consciousness. But the 1 is not the 9. The 1 is what makes up the 9, and the 9 is what makes up the 1. So I can channel the Pleiadians, I can channel Merlin. Merlin is actually my personal guide. He's the guide I probably work with the most at a personal level, meaning that's how I develop my abilities. That's how I learn how to teleport, how to be in 2 places at once, bilocation, trilocation. Merlin is my personal guide. So we have personal guides, but we also have collective guides, guides that assist you in assisting others so that you can help your galactic brothers and sisters ascend with you, and vice versa. So back to what I was saying, we are being asked to follow what our body needs from moment to moment now. From moment to moment. So we have to loosen our grip on life. Your guides are going to require you to skip the gym or to skip your yoga. And I just want to say this, there's nothing wrong with working out. So you know how I said like your muscular structure is the grid work that holds your reality in place? That doesn't mean you stop working out fully. It's about finding the balance when you're doing things. The density isn't the muscle itself. It's the energies that we hold within our bodies that have compacted themselves as density. So let's say that you do yoga and you're hating yourself as you do yoga. You are generating density. You are creating density within your body. It has nothing to do with how big your muscles are. And I want to say this clearly because some people will say things like, oh, that's why I stopped working out. No, that's not the solution. The solution will never be to abort a mission or to completely discard something. Is can you find that delicate balance as you learn about who you are through these activities? Can you find that 0 point field or that midway while you're jogging or while you're sprinting? Can you listen to your body when it asks you for a day off? And rather than being rigid and defiant, drop those anchors and say, okay, I'm ready to flow within this crystalline state of DNA. And again, I want to make this clear. This knowledge isn't new knowledge. It's ancient wisdom that we are retrieving. It was always available to us, but because we were so stubborn, which I don't want to fault us for, because again, there was DNA tampering that happened. We were also we were stuck in our stories. Even as a collective, we've been stuck in our stories for a long time. And now that Lemurian energy is coming back online, that Atlantean energy is coming back online. We are remembering and recollecting all that we are. So never fault yourself for having been stuck in your story. That served the collective at some level. That's why I'm saying never judge your experience, because it served the collective at some level. Maybe we needed to descend through the spiral of time and space to reascend and remember who we are now. And we had to go through dark ages so that we can appreciate the light ages more. As we remember who we are, as we reconnect into source, as we replug into this crystalline matrix. So please follow what feels right for you. And I've been on this journey for a long time, and I can tell you that at times I felt this availability. And whenever I obeyed it, whenever I was compliant, I would grow by leaps and bounds. And then that window would close again, and then I'd get rebellious and defiant and not listen to my higher self because I didn't feel like it, and I had a right to, because that's my free will, because we have a free will. But that's the contrast we came to surf. We're surfers, and we're constantly surfing those different waves, the ups and the downs and the ups, the negatives, the positives. It makes us appreciate existence at large a lot more. So right now, what I'm getting is that there's an opening for us. It's like this portal has opened to facilitate the process of accelerating ourselves into the highest of dimensions. So if you listen to those internal instructions of, I'm supposed to relax today, you're going to fast track yourself. Follow your intuition. If you don't feel like going out with friends and you're getting kind of like an acidic taste in your mouth, or you're just not getting a good feeling about it, know that that vibration that you're feeling is the other reality where you do play out going out with these friends and having a horrible time only to come back home and realize that you shouldn't have gone at all. Now again, don't judge yourself if you go, but listen to that very loud whisper right now that's saying to you, you're not going to have a good time. because that is that other aspect of the self. Just to kind of loop back to what I was saying earlier with the gym stuff, it's that other aspect of yourself that's already played out that timeline that wants to save you some time. And it's offering you a different option. Hey, just stay home tonight, read a good book, watch Netflix. The OA right now is amazing. I don't know if you guys have watched it. Read a good book, Netflix, meditate, connect with nature. I've noticed a massive shift even in television. Like the OA is stuff that I've been tapping into since 2011. And TV is having to catch up with where we stand as a collective. They know that we're awakening. So movies, TV, everything is changing. Because they know that if they don't step their game up, that we're probably not going to watch TV anymore. So again, life is a mirror. And TV is having to match our frequency now. Just like life will always match your frequency. Because everything is an externalized hologram of what you have going on inside. So I encourage you to loosen your muscles, to loosen your cellular structure, to loosen your bones, loosen everything, the muscles in your face. Be proactive with your guides right now. If you have this intuitive knowing or this inkling that you're not going to have a good time with your friends, save yourself the trouble, save yourself that time. That vibration that you're feeling is that other timeline that you've already played out, where you went out, came back, and were like, why did I go out? You're becoming multidimensional now, and you don't have to play it out physically in order to experience it spiritually. You don't have to play it out physically in order to experience it spiritually. Your multidimensional self can travel. It zips in and out of realities. It is not bound to time and space. I hope this message helped you guys. Follow what's right for you, what feels correct, what feels comfortable from moment to moment to moment. Suspend all these beliefs that you're not going to be beautiful if you skip the gym, or you're not going to be beautiful if you have that extra pint of vegan ice cream or of ice cream. Infuse everything that you do with love. Start to merge yourself into that next reality where that future aspect of yourself already resides and is waiting for you. Will that being look different? Yes, it will. And a lot of what we're going through right now is to accept ourselves as we are. Because we have to come to terms with the fact that your DNA is always going to morph itself into a new structure. And your physical body will change, but you're going to be more beautiful because you're going to be emanating more light from the depth of your soul. I've seen my body change incrementally. My body's still on point, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't look like it did 3 years ago because I've been working on this for a long time. It doesn't look like it did, but I love it more now because I'm, rather than objecting to my ascension, I'm deciding to let go and hold that other aspect's hand and say, I can't see. I can kind of see what you're going to look like, but I'm afraid of that. But I'm going to accept it now because I want to be the best version of who I can be in this life. Not what I look like physically. Not what I appear to be to other people. Because that usually stems from something deeper than just the physical, deeper than just the gym. It has to do with feeling safe. We do things because we want to feel safe. Because maybe we've been abandoned. I had huge abandonment issues. Also, the gym was the only thing that kept me afloat when I came out of the psych ward. It was the only thing that I had to hang on to hold on to some sense of normalcy. Because I was such a mess and I was so lost that the gym offered me that structure where I can believe that there was something more. So it was my friend. But we're always evolving ourselves and we have to know when to let things go. So don't let it go completely because there is beauty in having a certain discipline in your life. Again, it's not about abandoning the gym or abandoning yoga or abandoning this or that. You can be someone who does CrossFit, which I don't do, and be completely illuminated. But if you're addicted to that, then you're still stubborn. You need to learn how to find that balance. We are remembering that nothing is here to govern us. We are here to become that master, to be untethered within this physical human suit, within this physical body suit. We're here to be untethered within all these other distractions, within all these other things that can potentially latch onto you. We are learning how to live as a dot now, how to just flow with life, and how to release this idea of who we thought we were and accept who we're becoming. So I hope this message helped you guys. I love you so much. And thank you for subscribing. There's a button you can click. I think it's my face. You can click on it. And then thank you for commenting. And thank you for donating. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for all of that. I love you, and I'm sending you infinite blessings.